What's going on? Welcome to the .Ugly Truth Podcast, where we speak with some amazing people that have done some amazing things. But as you know, everything that glitters is not always so gold. There's always some ugly before that beauty. And so, as you know, the Ugly Truth Podcast is sponsored by none other than The Ugly Brand. Go ahead and get your gear at www.theuglybrand.com. That's www.theuglybrand.com. Today we have a special guest. One of my guys he hails from ATL right now. Bunduke, what's going on, bro?
Yo, what's good, Queen? How you feeling?
Hey, man, I'm Gucci.
Hey, yo, appreciate you having me on here, yo.
Absolutely, man, absolutely. So I know you as the ads guy, pretty much. You're
Right.
the one who knows how to do the Facebook ads, the Instagram ads, all of those little small nuances, which are actually not super small, they're huge to a business. I'm just learning this in the marketing space. And
Right.
so that's what I know you as. However, to my understanding, you have an awesome and amazing story behind you becoming the ads guy. So that's really what I want to hear about.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah, it's definitely been a long time coming.
Absolutely, man. It has been a long time coming. I'm gonna do better. I am gonna do better this year. This year, I'm gonna be a lot more organized. Because this unorganization is just. I'm a low C, so I have my mom who is my high C, but she doesn't know about all this kind of stuff yet with the podcast and all that stuff. So I have to get
Right.
her more involved. But because my level of organization is just non-existent. 1,000% honest.
You got it. It look like your merch organized real nice back there.
Man, look, so you already know, right? First of all, Michelle Green on the lights. You already know that. I'm going to have a link for her. Anyone who has any studio lighting issues, you need to stage your background, you need to stage your studio, you need to get your lighting right. I have someone for you. I will make sure I put the link in the description for Michelle Green. That's who you're going to want to contact because she walked me through this and she lives in Connecticut. You know what I mean? She's not even here and was able to walk me through over the phone just how to set this entire studio situation up. So kudos and big ups to Michelle Green. All right, bro. So look, I know you're not from the United States. So where are you from?
Right. So my family is originally from South Sudan in East Africa. It's like one of the newest countries in the world. It was only 10 years old.
Wow.
So yeah, to give you a little bit of a background, my parents, they grew up there. They lived there. They had whole lives over there. But then a civil war broke out, and there was actually two civil wars. One lasted 27 years, another lasted like 17 years, which is it's wild, you know. So they literally were uprooted from their home. They had to get out and escape. But my father, who was working in the law enforcement, you know, half of his squad, you know, got killed. Yeah, so
Wow.
it was a miracle for him to make it out. And my mother, she used to live in close proximity to where a lot of large political leaders who, you know, and that's where attacks would happen. So it was just, you know, a different type of lifestyle out there at that time. So back during that time, they literally escaped straight from there and moved to Cairo, Egypt.
Okay.
And that's where I was born. So I got 3 older siblings. And when we moved to Cairo, Egypt, I was born. And then my younger brother was also born out there. And the crazy part about when I was born was I was a 13-pound baby. And I was so huge. My shoulders were too wide to fit through my mom, to fit through the womb. I got stuck and there was no time for a C-section. I had lost all oxygen and like the doctors just basically thought I was dead. But mom said my skin was as dark as charcoal, like at that time, like I had no oxygen. I was like, and then the doctors had no choice at that time but just to force me out of the womb and just set me down, save my mom and start helping her. So once that happened, my mom, you know, she put her hands over her belly and realized that there was no more child within her. And so she was like, where's my son? And they're like, nah, your son he's gone. And then she was like, nah, bring me my son. So they literally brought my lifeless body over to her. So she held me and just prayed over me and kept praying over me. And that's when the doctors decided to actually start working on me. And then I miraculously started breathing minutes later.
Wow.
And that was just, and I thank God for that because I could easily not be here right now.
Right.
And I tell everybody to thank God every single day because that's how I start my day. And every single day we got on in this world to be able to impact others. That's what we should set out to do. That's how we should focus our mindset. That's how we should push forward at all times.
Wow, man. Wow. So now leading into that, so this leads me to my next question. So I assume because you have a clothing brand, and which I need to get a hoodie. I'm slacked. I haven't got a hoodie yet, and we've seen each other. We've seen each other at events.
I know, right? We got to do one of those, like, you know how they do the jersey exchange,
right? So the next time, so let's do that, right? The next time in the ATL, which I think COVID permitting, isn't that sad? Like COVID permitting, I think Dave's going to be having something, and we're going to have to do a jersey exchange because your brand is awesome. So your brand, and you can see at the top of your shirt, it says "Thank God," but I see that it's in English, but then we have a few other languages under that. So what are those?
Right. So English, Arabic. So we actually speak Arabic in South Sudan. And then I got Spanish on here as well. I took Spanish classes. One of my best friends is Colombian, so we always speak Spanish with each other and things like that. That's how I worked on it whenever I had Spanish class. So I was always on point then there. And then below that we have Japanese.
Okay.
Japanese is, I watch a lot of anime, so I chose to put that one on in there. And then I got French up in there. My dad used to teach me a little bit of French because he knows some French.
Right.
And then lastly, I have Braille, which is a visual representation of Braille. And with this specifically, after putting in all these 5 spoken languages, I wanted to put something else in there that, because everybody's not going to be able to see this.
Right.
And so for our brothers and sisters who are not going to be able to see that, I wanted to kind of have a certain level of awareness for them too. So that's why I wanted to make sure that I threw that Braille visual representation up in there. And yeah, so like I literally have a song called "Thank God."
Wow.
And that's what really birthed the brand itself. It was at a time in college, like me and my partner, Random Word, he's a producer. We barely had any money. We were struggling college students, but we had our music, we had our mentality, and so he made this beat, and I started writing to it, and that's what really birthed the brand. Because once I started performing it, artists, you got to have the merch, so I put the song title on the shirt, and so we started rocking out like that, and then people was buying the shirt before they even knew I was an artist, before they knew I performed. So now I was like, yo, this is much more powerful than me. It's much more bigger than me, I should say. It's such a powerful message that people gravitate to.
Right.
But that's the whole thing about the brand right there.
Yeah, that's dope, man. I can tell you now, I don't rap, and so Do It Ugly will not have a rap. And if we do have one, it won't be from me because I don't rap. Like, I don't have no bars. Like, I don't have no bars. And it is like I try to like get some type of bars, like they're gonna be corny, like because this is not really my thing. But I think that's dope. And it's something that I've learned too when I started the Ugly brand. I'm like, okay, this is just some t-shirts, things. It's gonna be pretty dope. And then it turns into, as you said, something that was so much bigger than myself. That it's like, okay, I might not rap, but I do know how to speak. And sometimes I feel that I'm learning the power behind my words and how it helps other people. So it's like, okay, so the t-shirts and the merch and stuff, it's cool. But there's always that message, you know what I mean? And so hearing your message and hearing your story as to why it's thank God. Because we're always raised where it says, just thank God. With little grace that we're taught, God is great, God is good, and we thank him for our food. We're always taught, well, not always, but majority of us are taught to, you thank God. But sometimes you have to sit back like, well, what am I really thanking him for? You know what I mean? And so, I don't have that struggle story, C-section, hey, come out. Everything's great. You know what I mean? I've not lived through any wars or anything like that. I've not been in that space, but it sounds like you've got every reason, which we all do, but just the reasons and the way that, things that you've gone through. This thanking God thing is a really, really personal.
And it's true. One, like, it was crazy because like one time I was performing the song and this dude came up to me, and he was crazy because he was taller than me. He came up to me
And you
crying,
ain't no
and
small
he was
dude.
like, "Yo, man." And I was just so taken back because that was the day, that was one of my first shows out here in Atlanta, and that was the day I realized the power that the song can, how much it can really move somebody. He came up to me talking about his struggles, because I was talking about, whatever you going through, you're gonna be able to make it through. And we gotta thank God for our level of perseverance, our ability to bounce back, be resilient towards any type of struggle that we face. And he just came out to me spilling his heart out about it. And it was just such a connection that we had at that moment. It was mind blowing to me because I didn't expect it. I believe it's because I didn't expect it fully. I didn't fully understand the power behind just those two simple words, thank God. But it's huge. It's so huge.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes we're, like I said, it's for the majority of us, those Black Christian homes, and or it has to be a Christian home, but I say at least Black homes, from what I know. I hope nobody takes any offense to this, but we're always taught, thank God, and you have the little prayer, God bless mom, God bless that, these things. But then as you get older, it's like, yeah, you know what I mean, like, I've been through some stuff, you know what I mean, and you have to really, really realize, like, yo, if it were up to me, I wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? And then you sit back and you think about, okay, now there's a purpose. There's a purpose for me. And I have to figure out a way to live in that purpose. And then you make that purpose, not about yourself. And so I definitely understand and hear, like, thank God. You know what I mean? Like, yo, no, really, let's, thank God.
That's real. Yeah, that's what it's about. I thank God my parents even brought me to the United States. Like, we came out here in 1995
so what was that like?
Florida.
What was that like? How was the transition in getting here? How did that even happen?
Yo, it's crazy because my parents literally had to file paperwork to seek refuge as war refugees in the United States, seeking asylum. And so, kind of like these days, there's like wars going on in Syria, and a lot of people are trying to seek asylum here in the United States. So with that process, thank God my parents were educated enough to be able to, carry out that process for us. And so when we came to America, we came into Jacksonville, Florida.
Right.
And like I was only 2 years old, so I barely remember much from living in Egypt. But my older siblings, they remember a lot. They remember so much. And even back in Sudan, like, my older sister was telling me about stuff about the war, and I was just like mind blown, because it was like last year and we had our first conversation about it, and she was like, yeah, we used to have to dig bunkers under the home so we can stay out of the way of gunfire. And I was like, yo, what? Because I didn't live that, they did. And like, it's just I'm like, yo, I thank God I didn't have to even live that. But so that transition for my parents was crazy, because it was like their second time leaving everything. They left everything in Sudan, came to Egypt,
and they
left everything in Egypt, came to Jacksonville, and like none of the education carried over. So my pops had to be a janitor, my mom had to do, like, they both were just doing like cleaning service jobs and stuff. So then eventually my dad, he transitioned into doing more security type jobs. And then my mom's, she started studying cosmetology. She became a hairdresser. And then, just growing up, having African parents, they're going to make sure you pay attention in school, or else.
Oh, yeah.
Or else you're going to get it.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's so funny because I just follow some people, some of these comedians, African comedians on Instagram and or TikTok. And they always say, in an African home, you know what I mean? And then it's just like to hear. And then there's a guy too, Toby. Is it Toby or Toby or Tobe?
The guy Toby, the rapper?
Yeah. And I went to the 120 conference with Eric Thomas, and he was saying, I don't know, he was raised in a Nigerian home, and he was saying stuff, about his mom when he told his mom he wanted to be, a rapper, not a musician, and she's like.
Right.
What? Like it's just not. It's
He
not
did
instilled
not
in you.
bring you to America
Yeah,
to do
and
no music.
right,
Okay.
and he was explaining. He was explaining to his mom, and the mom goes to the dad and to his dad. Is like, hey, listen to him say what he want to say. Listen to him say this. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, in that culture, that's not acceptable. It's just not acceptable.
Real.
You're here to get an education and do what you're supposed to do with that degree.
I used to hide my rap books.
Really? Wow.
Yo, I used to hide my rhyme books. Like I used to, like when I first started writing, I was used to writing like poetry and stuff. And then I started listening to Pac, Ludacris, 50, Eminem, all of these folks when I was in elementary school. So then I started writing, and I would have cuss words in there. And my mom found my rap book, and she came up to me looking so disappointed, like, why do you have these words? And I was like, dang. And then so like ever since then, I had like completely stopped cursing in my music. And so so then I started writing a whole lot more, and then I would be rapping at lunchtime, like be like, yo, I wrote this rap, telling my friends like, yo, check this out, and I'm rapping to them. They're like, yo, that's hard. And then one of my partners, he was like, bro, you got to rap this in front of the whole cafeteria, because our cafeteria was an auditorium. This dude gonna call over the administrator and be like, yo, you got to rap for her. You got to check this rap out. He don't even cuss. So then I rap for her. She was like, wow, that's pretty good. And she was like, yeah, come rap in front of everybody. I was like, nah, I'm straight.
Right. Wait a minute.
Well,
I ain't signed up for this.
Stage fright. Yeah, your boy, I was like in 5th grade at that time too. And then, but then everybody starts chanting my name. So my full name is Bunduke. And so everybody chanting Bunduke. Like my boy first started chanting, then the whole cafeteria chanting. You got a bunch of kids, they don't know what they chanting. They just want to ruckus banging. I'm like, yo, why is everybody chanting my name right now? This is crazy. So then I go up, and then I get up there. I'm like scared. I'm just like frozen in front of everybody. Everybody get dead silent. And I'm just like, and then I was like, you know what? I got this in my head. And I started rapping. I spit the first rap I ever wrote, and I spit it to them, and it was like, everybody started going nuts, and I was like, "Oh snap!" And it was a wake up call, because it was like a complete opposite. Because growing up, as African in America rather than African American, it's kind of like I was caught in a weird in between. It's like the black people ain't really rock with me because I wasn't black, and then the white people, they rock with me because I'm black. And then it was like being like. It's like it was but I still made friends along the way, of course, but like it was still like a weird coming of age, trying to balance out my identity and understanding where I personally fit. But then once I started rapping and doing music, none of that mattered. It was all about the bars. If he was like, yo, you got bars. So then that's what really made me even gravitate to music even more, because that's where I personally found my own identity, my own creativity to express myself.
And that's crazy, man. I think that's awesome. When you say something like black people didn't even accept me because I was black, like because I wasn't black, but I'm black, but you're not black. Like it's just crazy how we have these levels to this stuff. You know what I'm saying? These layers to you're not black, or you're not black enough, or you too black.
Right. You know what I'm saying? I mean? Like you a Oreo, like I was getting good grades, speaking
multiple languages,
speaking like very proper, you know what I'm saying? So it's like oh, you think you better than us or something? I'm like, nah.
Right. You just like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm just trying to pass because I don't want to get my ass whipped by my mom. I just want to pass. I'm just trying to pass. I'm just here to pass. I'm not. That's it.
I got a C on a progress report one time, and I was scared to bring that thing home.
Yeah. That's how it was in my household. If you brought home a C, it was problematic. You know what I mean? Because much like your parents, my mother instilled education in us because, you know, her father taught her that, you know, if you don't have anything else, you have education.
Yo,
so that way you'll never have to depend on anybody.
That's literally what I heard growing up.
Oh, that's it. That's all I heard growing up. You know what I mean? You need to have your education so that you don't have to, and as a woman, you don't have to depend on no man. You don't have to depend on anybody to take care of you. You need to get education. And here we are now. I'm like, you know, looking at Navient like, well, so now what? With these, with all this education, sis, all this education, and to be 1,000% honest, my business intellect and is going to be what's going to pay that education stuff off.
Right.
And I'm not mad at it because the road that I took, it allowed me to, you know, I believe in divine timing and just everything happens for a reason. One thing you'll never be able to take is my master's degree. Great.
Right.
But I also don't even use it at all. It's really just something nice to say. And it looks good on paper. You know what I mean? And now doing what I'm doing, like, yeah, you know, I have a master's degree, but I also sell t-shirts. You know, so.
Hey.
I think that I just think that's kind of funny.
Nah, I 100% feel you on that, especially when you said, "Oh, with your parents."
Listen,
grandparents told your parent. I was like, "Yo, my parents used to look at me dead in the face. They're like,
that's it.
We gonna be gone.
Yeah,
education is gonna be your mom and dad."
Yeah. But I think now what's happened is education is now no longer fixed in the school. I think education now is my mind registers differently when you hear education. It's being educated on what it is, whatever you want to do, and it's going out there and finding that information. Whether it be if you want to be the greatest podcaster, okay, well then you go follow the greatest podcasters and you get educated that way, or you know, YouTube University, and you know if you want to be a real estate agent, okay, go get that education. You know, not much of it matters on books; it's experience, and then also just investing in those who are better than you. You know what I mean? Instead of I mean, half the stuff that I've learned in college, I'm like, I can't remember it. I can tell you about a couple parties. I can tell you about a couple homecomings. But if you were to ask me, hey, in your class, your MBA course, when you started talking about stats, how what did you learn there? I'm going to sit here and tell you, I don't know a thing. I just know I paid for that semester.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. It doesn't take me long to get certain things, like stocks. It's taking me a long time to get those because I just don't get them. But, I imagine that I'll be able to pay somebody to get it for me. That's my goal anyway. All right. So now you graduate. Okay. So you came here, you went through, elementary school, middle school, high school, all in Florida, correct?
Yes, yeah. In Jacksonville, Florida. I went to all the way throughout, like in middle school. That's when I started doing talent shows and stuff and really fine-tuning my craft. Started freestyling when I fell in love with freestyling when Nick Cannon dropped Wildin' Out, and they used to do wild style battles. And I was like, oh, they coming up with this off the top of their head. And then me and my friends used to do that in the lunchroom, and then 8 Miles dropped, and I was like, I started freestyling. I started just freestyling every day, and then that's what really got me even deeper into rap. Yeah, high school. Then I used to go to my partner's house and record all the time. And then after I graduated, that's when I went to the University of Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, and I started studying computer science over there. Okay. My first semester, I had a little scholarship on my first semester, and so I got a $2,000 refund check.
Oh, that
was my first time ever having money. I was like, yo, I'm lit. I was like, I got $2 bands. Yeah, but by that time, my parents had split up, and my pops ended up moving back to Sudan, to South Sudan and junk. So So I was like, shoot, I got 2 bands. I called my mama. I was like, Mama, I got 2 bands. I'm shooting you a band. I shot my mama a band. With the other band, I went straight to Guitar Center and bought all my own equipment. I bought my mic, my stand, all that stuff. I started recording, hustling mixtapes on campus, doing shows, all that. Then I opened up for the Yin Yang Twins. That joke was crazy. Yeah.
That's dope, man.
Yeah, opened up for some pretty dope artists, yo. Opened up for Hobson and Dizzy Wright, and opened up for Afro Man of all people. Like that was dope too. But yeah, it was dope just to be able to really just be myself and see like the whole process happen, because it was almost like when I got on campus, it was rapping, like, you know, when you're African dude, South Sudanese dude, people don't look at me and think rapper. They see me, I'm 6'7", they like, oh, that boy hoop or something.
Yeah, hey, listen, man, I'm trying to tell you, I'm not gonna lie. When I first seen you in Atlanta, I saw you first at the Content Creators Boot Camp.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, I said, this dude, and I don't even know how, I don't want to say ignorant, but I guess ignorant I could be to be like on camera. When you see someone on camera, you're like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, of course you could tell somebody's like extra, maybe a little plump or a little really skinny or whatever, but you really can't tell whether somebody's tall or short. For real, like, you can't really tell that. But for some reason, you never gave me, like, you know, uncontrollably tall. And I'm like, okay, you're right, you know. But when I saw you in Atlanta, I'm like, yo, my man is up here. Like, this he's huge. Like, he's tall.
Yeah. Nah, that's something that always, like, every time I pass by a court, go to a court, people always pick me up and like, yo, let's hoop. Oh, that boy tall. I know he could hoop. But yeah, I do be hooping too now. I get down.
I was getting ready to ask though. So I was getting ready to ask because I don't know if you mentioned this, but when you were born, because of the way that you were delivered, it caused an injury to your right arm.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, it caused the brachial plexus injury when they forced me out, and so that's like it separated my nerves and my spine and things like that from my right arm. So I have very limited use of my right hand. Like, I can't even rotate my right hand like this. It's permanently facing up. So like, even when I'm typing, when I'm playing the keys over here, whatever I'm doing, guitar, like, I gotta kind of finesse it with one hand. Like, even when I'm hooping, like, so when I'm getting out there, like, I had one of my homies, he used to call me the one-handed bandit, because like, seeing me cross people up with one hand, they'd be like, yo, that's crazy. And then taking it to the hole and things like that, being able to dunk, things like that, people like, yo, bro, and it all, I think having this type of injury and always dealing with it day to day, whether it's driving, putting on clothes, showering, everything, I got to do it different. I feel like that pushed my level of creativity and pushed my level of hunger to figure things out. Because like I said, you know, people always underestimate me and things like that when it comes to certain things. And so it's almost like I always had a chip on my shoulder. I had a chip on my right shoulder. Like,
right. You know? Yeah, I love that, because one thing that I'm hearing you say is that I have an injury and not a disability. And I love that, because what most common folks would define or describe is he has a disability. And when I hear the word disability, that means I'm not able to do something. And that by far is not the case for you. It's not that you're not able to, it's just that it's done differently. And it's just as simple, it's an injury, because that's what it is. So I love that you say that, because you're not allowing anybody to put you in any type of box.
Real talk. And that's something that my parents always put me on, and it gave me that type of mindset. They always say, you know, just because your arm is like this doesn't mean you can't do anything. You know, like the only thing they stop me from doing is playing football, which makes sense. I mean,
which makes sense, cool. Right? Understandably so.
I couldn't be too mad at that right now in retrospect, but like, I had made the team and all.
Right, you know, right. They're like, wait a minute, bruh. Hold up, stand down.
Right. They took me to the doctor. Doctor was like, "Yeah, you probably shouldn't play no football, bro."
Right.
And so it was all cool. I got into playing soccer and went hard
Oh
on
yeah.
that, and it was all good. It was all good. But yeah, they always gave me that mindset to always persevere and not
Right.
let people put me down and things like that, and just kind of hold my head high no matter
Right.
what. And
Right.
because you could imagine how kids is cruel. I used
Oh
to get
yeah.
roasted for my arm all the time. So then now I'll just be like, they'll roast me. I'll do a freestyle rap dissing them.
Right, man.
And people would
Listen,
be like, "Oh
be the
shoot!"
last time they sat there and thought about that.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
hit a
So
little different.
that
Hit a
it
little
used to be
different.
on top of being dark skinned. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Right,
like
man. Oh
I got
yeah.
the worst of the jokes.
Yeah.
So I developed some thick skin to just look at people and be like, "Man, I ain't got no time for you right now."
Right.
So,
However, if I got time for you, don't let me get on this mic real quick.
right, and I will
Yeah.
embarrass you in front of all these girls right here.
Yeah. That's awesome. So
Yeah.
you went to was it not Florida State? I don't want to get it wrong because you know how y'all
Yeah.
Y'all
University of
Floridians.
Florida.
Yeah,
Gator
Floridians,
gang.
y'all get real testy about
Right.
mixing up y'all schools. I'm actually a Gators fan. I love the Gators.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, I really do love them.
I used to be the mic man
Swampville.
for the football team.
Yeah, I love Swampville. I want to go to a game there anyway. All right, so you went there. You graduated from there.
Yeah, I graduated from
Okay.
there. So at first I was studying computer science because my parents wanted me to do something that's gonna make me some money, right?
That's what they thought. Yeah.
Right. Halfway through, I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this no more. Although I
Right.
was good, but like the whole time I'd be typing with one hand. So like,
Right.
and I still type fast. And
Right.
so, but it wasn't for me. I wasn't enjoying it. And so I decided to shift into economics, which I enjoyed a lot more. And so I ended up graduating with my economics degree back in
Cheated in
2016.
I cheated.
What'd you say?
I cheated in economics.
Oh no.
I did. I say it out loud because I graduated now. Graduated over 10 years ago.
I know, right? They can't take that back now because if they take it back, they got to take the student loans with it.
Yeah, economics. So you graduated economics degree.
Yup, I graduated and I had a whole bunch of job offers too on top of that. Coming out of college, like 60, 70, 80,000 type of salary jobs. But I was like, you know what? I know for a fact if I go into this, I'm gonna hate it. I knew I was gonna hate it. And so my sister at the time was living in Decatur, about 30 minutes outside of Atlanta. So I called her up after I graduated. I was like, yo, can I come crash on your couch till I figure out my life? Because I want to be in Atlanta so I can get on the music scene because this is where it's popping.
That's where it's at. Yeah.
So I turned down all those job offers. People was like, bro, you wildin'. My mom was like, why would you do that? And I was like, I gotta go after what I want. Right. Or else I'm gonna be disappointed in myself forever.
Right.
Because I could always turn around and go get a job. Like if anything fell apart now, I could still turn around and go get a job easily.
Right.
Like, I ain't tripping. So at that point, when I moved out here, I was staying with my sister and just trying to figure it out. And I probably had like $300 on me, and I used $50 to catch the megabus.
Right.
And so I'm like catching Ubers and buses around the city, like trying to network, going to open mics, going to different networking events, and then I started running low on bread, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just have to go get a job anyway. But at least I'm still in Atlanta, right?
Right.
So I get a job at the bank. And then I ended up getting an internship at 12 Studios. At the time, Rick Ross and T.I. had their artists going there and recording. So it was dope because I remember first getting in there, right? So I used to literally leave work in my suits at the bank and go straight to the studio. I'm in the bank. I'm literally in the studio cleaning up trash in a suit. People looking at me like, who is this dude cleaning up the bathrooms?
Right.
Right,
Oh
so
man.
I'm just doing my thing over there, but that was like where I first really started getting exposed to the marketing game and understanding how the marketing of artists really goes. So I'm like chopping it up with shout out my brother Josiah and um Spitty Will, man, them boys really put me on game as far as just the whole mindset and thought process around artist branding and even data collection. Like they had me making spreadsheets and stuff like that, and just understanding, oh, okay, so this is how y'all be running the game. Okay, understand. Them boys got platinum plaques and stuff sitting in their offices, and I'm just like, yo, yeah, that's where I want to be. You know, so then, you know, fast forward a little bit, I started up, you know, doing some vlogs and stuff like that. So I used to be vlogging all the time, putting out content, and at the same time, I'll be vlogging at the studio and just chopping it up with different people and doing stuff like that. But like I used to try to stay in the studio till like it closed at 3 a.m. So I stay there till like 3 a.m. and then clean up everything and then get in the studio. And I'm like, yo, I'm in there feeling like Rick Ross from like T.I. I'm like, yeah, I'm in there working, writing.
That's the epitome of getting in the room, man.
Yeah. Sometimes I fell asleep in that mug and I like wake up and it'd be like 6 a.m. and I'm like, all right, let me go home, take a shower, change clothes, and just dip right back to work. And so like it was just a cycle. I used to show up late to work, you know, and I got on probation so many times at work, and then to the point where, but I was doing good with the music. So I had shows, I got booked to perform at different colleges. So like I was trying to get time off right at work, and they didn't want to let me go. I was like, yo, I got a show. I'm about to go get paid more in one day than y'all pay me in 2 weeks. And so I'm like, yo, this makes no sense to me. Yo, so then over time I end up leaving that job, going to a different job. That gave me a little bit more flexibility. So I was doing like tech sales and stuff like that. So then boom, that was dope. But then 6 months later, they end up firing me. Yup. And then before they even fired me, right, it was crazy because me and my partner, we were renting out a house and we started running Airbnb in the house. And then the landlord found out that we was doing Airbnb under the table because we was renting it. So then I think one of the neighbors snitched on me, yo. Yo, if you snitched on me and you watching this, yo,
if it was you,
I hope God bless you.
Yeah, we're gonna leave it like that. We're gonna leave it like that. If whoever did it though, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Yo, for real. But anyways, it's all good but it was crazy. I ended up getting fired, and my landlord ended up finding out and terminating our lease in the same week. Yeah, so I'm sleeping out my whip, like figuring stuff out, still going to the studio, still hustling, just doing my day to day. And then from there, that's when I really realized, like, yo, this thing is on me regardless. No matter what I'm doing, if I'm not in control, everything could fall apart at any moment. So that was probably one of the biggest life learning lessons I ever had, where it's like, yo, I'm not in control. So I need to do something to put myself in control no matter what. Yeah. So after that, that's when my partner introduced me to entrepreneurship, and he showed me how to run my own moving company. So I started running a moving company, putting people on jobs, going on jobs myself, like literally packing people's house up, moving it to the next location. Boom. It's a lucrative industry too. I was like, yo, I was making bread. I was like, hold up.
I'm gonna tell you what, man, when I move out of my house, I will not be moving anything myself. I'm just not. I refuse.
It's worth it. It's worth it. I was like, yo, I went from making $15-$20 an hour at the bank, right, or wherever I was working, to being able to send people on jobs and making more than that. I'm like, yo, okay. This whole thing flipped on its head now. But over time, you know, I didn't really it just kind of took a toll on my body. And I was like, you know what, I'm not trying to be all active out in the field like that. And then also when I tried to go get me another crib to stop sleeping in my whip, they wanted to see pay stubs. They didn't want to see that I got cash transactions and stuff. And I was like, dang, that's how y'all gonna do me. So then I realized I had to go get a job. So I got another job. So I'm on my third job. And at that point, this was back in 2018. And I got my third job. And so I'm working there, stack up, get my pay stubs, get my crib and all that, and then start running Airbnb the right way. And that's when I like I said, I wasn't always the best employee. So then, 6 months later, they end up letting me go. But it was all good because I already had everything set up, had my bills covered through Airbnb. I was like, okay, I'm straight at least. And I just started doing Uber and Lyft and stuff like that, just to make some extra bucks on the side. And I was good. I had no complaints. I felt liberating when I got let go. I was like, yo, I got let go with a backup plan that was already in motion,
already in it. Right.
Yeah. So that was real dope. But like I said, I was doing the vlogging and stuff, so people would hit me up, yo, can you come do a vlog for me? Come do a little interview for me. So then I was like, okay, Lord, I think I got something here. And so I'm building that up now. Now I'm getting people hitting me up, paying me. I'm like, yo, I can make $100 in a day doing this. This is fire. I'm like, I'm feeling good. And then like fast forward, I people start asking me how I was making merch. So I'm like, I'm teaching people how to do that for free, and then they go off make money. And I realized, hold on, this is a whole consultation business. So I started packaging everything up. I'm like, yo, hold on. I started making business cards. I'm handing out business cards left and right. And then and I was doing shows. I had speaking engagements. I was lit, but then the pandemic hit. Pandemic shut all my shows down, shut my Airbnb down. And so I wasn't making no more money, and my savings was just going down. I was like, yo, the end is in sight. What am I going to do? So like I said, I was passing out these business cards. Dude hit me up and he was like, hey, you know how to do Facebook ads? At that time, I didn't know how to do Facebook ads. I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely. You can set up a meeting. We could talk about it. And then yo, I just say yeah. And then what happened was, one of my partner that I told you I was doing Airbnb with the house we got kicked out of. We went to college together. He studied marketing. Yeah, so he knew how to do Facebook ads very well. And so I was like, bro, I got a client for us. I'll do all the project management. I'll do the branding and merch side of things. You help me out with the Facebook ads. We're going to split the money 50-50. He was like, all right, bet. We put together a presentation, presented it to the dude. Dude was like, I don't know about this. I don't know. I don't see my ROI. And then I was like, dang. And like he hung up, and then we got off the phone. I was like, dang. How do we lose that? That was so easy. We could have had that. So I was like, you know what? I called bro back. I was like, hey, all right. So I understand you didn't like what we had going on, but let me go back to the drawing board and let me present to you again in 3 days. And he agreed to that. So 3 days later, I presented to him, and he accepted the offer. And I was like, yo, let's go. So now it was only making like $400 a month. We were splitting that. So we were making $200 a month. We were meeting like 3 times a week and all of that. It was crazy, but we learned a lot. I learned a lot. My boy was still working 9 to 5 at the time. And so he was on that grind too, and still trying to put his time into the business. So over time, it wasn't really making sense for him because he was making way more money at his job than doing this. And for me, it made sense to me because like I was building a whole new skill. And so because the whole time he was teaching me and putting me on game to how to run it, and vice versa. But I was putting him in on merchandise side of things, right? And so, yeah, shout my boy Moser, dog. Shout my dog, yeah. But yeah, we did that. Crazy. And then he ended up exiting, and I ended up taking over everything. At that point, I was pretty good with Facebook ads, but then I started meeting with the actual Facebook people on the phone, and I was like, okay, learning all the sauce. And then I was like, made that consistent, and then started getting more clients. and that changed the game for me. I ain't gonna lie.
Right. Right.
So then I realized that's something I could do even within the pandemic. In the pandemic, I was thriving off of that because everything went digital. So it was like, yo, everything came to me rather than everything me having to chase something.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's dope, man. I mean, you done went from, and it's so awesome because this is something that I would have never known, unless I hear your story, that you went from sleeping in your car to, okay, now I done bought a house and now you're maximizing this home. You Airbnb it out. Now, let me ask you, do you Airbnb your home? It's the home that you're in, right?
It's the home that I'm in. Like when I first started doing the Airbnb, right? I was running the play off of two guest rooms. So I set up the guest rooms, got a whole bunch of items. I was like on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh yeah, I love Facebook. Man, I got my whole studio on Facebook Marketplace, by the way. I love Facebook Marketplace. Okay, like Facebook Marketplace is the place. The only thing that is in my studio that is not from Facebook Marketplace are the microphones and the Procaster. That's it.
Wow.
Everything else is, I mean, my cameras, everything.
Stuff that's like 90% brand new, half the cost.
Brand new. I low key have an addiction to it. I'm not even gonna lie. I feel like I just went and picked something up yesterday, a portable dual monitor screen. Because it was only like $125. I'm like, okay, I need that for when I'm a little mobile on my 9 to 5. You know, I'm not supposed to be mobile on my 9 to 5, but sometimes life happens, and I'm not at my house. I might be somewhere else, but I still need my dual monitors. But Facebook Marketplace is just, man. Facebook Marketplace is where it's at.
Yeah, that's the plug right there.
It is the plug, straight up, hands down. Furniture, everything, like
everything.
So
I set up them 2 guest rooms and like. I was running up like $1,500 a month off of that easily outside, and I stay close to the airport out here, so it was taking care of the house, the groceries, the paper towels, everything. That was great. And so, but it was crazy. Like even when I was sleeping out my whip, that's when I got together with my girl too. I was going through it, and like, but she knew the type of person I was. She knew, you know, we knew each other for years before then, but it was just like for us to get together at that time where I literally had nothing. It was it was different. It just spoke volumes. But yeah. Now fast forward to today. You know, she helping me run the marketing company, and we going crazy with it. We going hard. And yeah, I cannot complain one bit at this point. It's just it's just learning now. It's just a hunger for learning, getting into new spaces with NFTs, all this.
Man, don't even get me started on those. I'm supposed to be, if it's 7:00 now, I don't know if it is or not, but I'm supposed to be in Erica's NFT course that she's got, and she launched it. It's a challenge, 5-day challenge today. This week. And NFTs are really, I told you I already don't understand stocks, but the NFTs are a little confusing to me. But I'm learning that they're simply just digital real estate to an extent. And I understand that a lot could be done NFT-wise with the Ugly brand. So I really have to find a way to grasp this concept because it could be the very thing that financially frees me because I have this logo or this thing. You know what I mean? But anyway.
For real, it's changing the whole game right now.
Yeah, it is. We can talk about that more offline.
Most definitely.
Because I want to understand it. Yeah, I want to understand it, but I just need like layman term. You know, and I mean I know we read a lot, but I still need layman terms.
Right.
But all right, cool. So the name of your marketing company, Duke's Day Media, correct?
Yeah.
All right.
Duke's Day Media. Yeah. I used to only go by Duke. So that's that. And my actually when I was telling you about my vlog used to be called Duke's Day. Like it was just my day. And so then when it turned into the marketing company, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just smush Duke's Day all into one word. And just put media at the end of it and not even worry about making a new logo or none of that stuff. So
I love it, man. I personally love it. I think that it's awesome. I think that's awesome. And I had a consultation with, it was some young lady I spoke with when I had your consultation, and I had missed your master class because I was driving. I was driving back from Norfolk, Virginia, from a workshop with Jason White. He's really big in the government contract space.
Yeah.
And so I was driving back from there, and I missed it, and I'm like, oh my gosh! But I took the call, and I was like, because I know marketing is at this point, the Ugly brand is established and liked. It has its meaning. It touches people. But now, for it to touch more people, it's going to come from the marketing. And I'm like, but this is one of those things where I've learned that this is a who, not how type situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be the person. You know what I'm saying? I need a who to do this. We're talking about pixels and Facebook ads and all that. I'm like, yeah, I don't want nothing to do with this. I just want to go on stage and talk about, how to help people eliminate their fears and get over their fears. I don't want nothing to do with this, but I know it's necessary.
Right.
I'm battling a little bit with that.
Yeah, so my whole thought process behind that now is that's what's got me more into focusing on a coaching program. Is because what I want people to do is understand why it's important, understand that it's not as difficult as from outside looking in, it does look crazy. But once you start doing it, you're like, oh, it's not that hard. All this makes sense. It's just like real life. When you start applying the real life principles to it that you already do, and then you realize, okay, somebody touching my website is like somebody walking into my store.
Right.
And if they walking into my store and I place a GPS tracker on them, and they walk around the rest of the mall, something like that, right? And that's how your pixel works. Once they touch your website, they go off somewhere. You following them. Now it's like every person in the middle of the mall, right? It's like, hey, check out this Do-It-Ugly shirt. It's super dope.
Right. Yeah. It's never been broken down to me like that. So now that you're talking about, yeah, man, this is what this is like. I'm like, oh. You know what I mean? It's not that I didn't know that it was important. I know it's important. But one thing, how I am, and this is me, and this is something I have to work on, that is if I'm intimidated by something, I just won't deal with it. To an extent, like I'll shy away from it. I'll eventually deal with it because I know it's necessary. But I also know that a lot of times, because we are intimidated by things, I used to be this way about TikTok and making reels. Like seriously, I would not make a reel because I'm like, I don't know how to do all this. This is so creative. It's so much. It's a lot. It's super creative. I don't know how to do it. And then one day, I got a little quick lesson on how to make reels. And I'm like, oh, this is fun. This ain't that bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to break.
Yeah. No, that's real. I feel you on that, especially with TikTok. I was like slacking on TikTok, but I started getting on TikTok a little bit more because my girl Corey, she be heavy on the TikTok. Like,
yeah, TikTok is where it's at, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm just now learning that like TikTok is where it's at. Like I'm like, oh, this is how you do a voiceover or blah blah. I mean, I'm gonna get more active because one thing that I love about TikTok, and reels, it allows me to show my personality. And I think that one thing that is awesome about the Ugly brand is I'm very vulnerable and I'm very transparent in what happens with the Ugly brand because I'm allowed to be.
I respect that.
You know what I mean? I appreciate it. I'm allowed to be. I'm allowed to show my mistakes because it's the Ugly brand. I'm encouraging you to make mistakes. I'm encouraging you to go out here and figure this out even though you have no idea how this is about to look. That's what I encourage. And so it allows me to show a lot of my personality because, I do a lot of stuff ugly, but stuff gets done and I execute. And so I'm learning now how important it is to, you can talk about it, but when people actually see it, it makes other people comfortable enough to say, well, you know what? I can go and do this same thing. Like it don't have to be so perfect. And so that's just one thing where I'm forcing myself to get more involved with TikTok because it allows me to be myself. And that's awesome. So people want to see that transparency.
And that's what marketing is all about at the end of the day.
Right.
When we, and that's what makes your style of marketing really great, because it's vulnerable, it's free. There's you're not boxing yourself in to look perfect or to look a certain way or behave a certain way. It's like, yo, y'all want to hear about my ugly weekend?
Man,
hey, next weekend, bad. Yo, I had another ugly weekend. Y'all want to hear about?
It was 2 weekends in a row. It was bad. It was so bad, man. Like 2 weekends in a row, I traveled out of town and had nowhere to stay. It was awesome.
Yo,
it's awesome.
Yo, yeah, but like it just adds to that story, and it's like, yo, and she went through it, and especially being a Black woman, you know, on top of that, come on, yo, it's like, yo, it's because there's things that Black women gotta deal with that I'm never ever gonna understand, you know. I mean, I can aim to understand and feel for it, but like I'm never gonna fully experience that type of things. Like, it's different, you know. Like, me sleeping out my car versus a woman sleeping out of a car is that's a whole different.
That's a whole different. That's a whole different animal. Process. Yeah. I appreciate that, King. It's you know, I think that it's tough out here for anyone who has our skin color, because we already have strikes against us. And I feel the same way that you feel about being a woman. I feel the same way about being a man, a Black man. You know what I mean? I'll never know what it feels like to be a Black man. You know, you guys are a different level of threat. And people don't like that. And, you know, I think that the Black culture in and of itself, we're already a big threat. But just, you know, the Black man, it's like, you know, it's like you guys don't even get a chance. You know what I mean? We get a little bit of a chance because you're a woman. So I feel, this is my personal opinion, that I won't say it's taken easy on us, because it's not, but because you're a woman, things are sometimes a little softer. Sometimes things are a little harder because you're a woman and you're not supposed to be able to do this. You're not, as a woman, you're not supposed to be able to succeed this way. And, but I think that as a culture, we struggle with that, period. And so, for you have a whole nother layer because you are foreign. You know what I mean?
Yo.
So, and that's just the reality. You know what I mean? Like, it's just real. And so that's another thing. I would never be able to relate to that. I'm an American citizen. You know what I mean? I'm born and raised here, right over in PG County. But to hear your story, you're like, I had to come from here to Egypt to now I'm coming to Florida, and I'm in Florida now to move to Georgia. Like, coming over across those lines, it's not like you didn't just move from north to south. Like, nah. We had to cross some rivers and so on and so forth to get here. So that's a journey, man. Like, that's a journey worth having gone through. And so kudos and shout out to your parents for not being afraid to make that journey.
Right.
Because I think that's a big deal.
Big respect.
Absolutely.
I owe a lot to them. That's what keeps me going so hard, because I want to make sure that I can do a lot for them comfortably. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm the same way with my parents. I mean, I there are some struggles that some folks would have gone through that I'll never know. You know, I don't know what it's like to know if the lights are going to be cut off or if we're going to have something to eat, or I'll never know that story because that wasn't my life. But I still have that same mentality of, because I don't know that life, that means my parents sacrificed something. They must have sacrificed a lot. And so I feel that it is now my responsibility to be able to provide to them the life that I'm dreaming of. You know, the nice cars and the private flights. And, you know, I personally want to purchase a large amount of land to build a home for my parents on the land that is close to me. We still all be on the same land, but, you know, they have their own space. But those are my dreams for my parents. And so the same way, you know, to be able to just give everything that I've got for the time that they're going to be here. Because if COVID hasn't taught anybody anything, time is short. Time is short. And I'm so excited and thankful for finding my way into the community that I did, which would be the morning meetup, which is where we met, because it exposed that to me. You know what I mean? I don't know how many people, may have passed away this year and this past year and even the year before then, only having a 9 to 5 to show for it.
Man.
I'm just not interested in that.
Yo. Wow.
I'm not interested.
You summed it up very well right there.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
There's just so much more that I think that we're here to do. And once you figure out what it is that you're here to do, I think that it's your responsibility to live by that and to live in that. And I came to the morning meetup by way of recession proof. And so I thought I wanted to be this awesome credit repair agent. And, it's going to be great for my real estate business. And it's just going to be great. Everything's going to go hand in hand. I'm going to be able to fix everybody's credit. And then they're going to buy a house with me. And now I have created an entire brand with T-shirts. And now creating a whole program focusing on fears and limiting beliefs. Wow. So it's just crazy how I found my purpose. But it is, I believe that we all have something that we're here to do. And we don't have, COVID has taught me we don't really have a lot of time.
We don't. Things can change in an instant.
Instantly. And they can change.
I'm already living, I'm thinking like that even about my current business. I'm like, Facebook ads could be obsolete.
Right.
The internet is shifting, or so many things are shifting.
Right.
I gotta start. That's why I'm like jumping into metaverse marketing now.
You see, I was getting ready to ask you. I was getting ready to take you there, because this whole metaverse thing. I'm like, okay, I seen that Snoop Dogg paid a certain amount of money to have this digital real estate next to Atari or something like that, and I'm like,
right.
This is real money? People are really paying this real money for digital assets.
Right.
But that's really what's happening.
Mm-hmm. And I'm starting to look at it the same way, like, how when you watch any sports event, you'll see the like especially like with soccer or something like that, or even basketball on the court, you'll see certain logos there, or even on the jerseys. I'm like, that's literally exactly how it is, because now people are going to be going online and looking at it, it's just like paying for an ad on Instagram. And I'm understanding that value of like why it might cost you a lot more during Black Friday than it will in March or something like that. So, but then the value of that is crazy, just because of people's brands at the end of the day.
Right.
And the best way to build your brand is to market it well. And now it's all coming around full circle. So I'm glad the knowledge that I built up isn't obsolete. It's just I'm just shifting it to a different platform.
Right. That's it. And that's one thing too about entrepreneurship and just business, period. Entrepreneurship or not, but business is you're gonna have to always be able to shift. You're gonna have to always be able to pivot. And that's one thing that I've learned. You're going to have to always be flexible, because as you'll hear, one thing I think is Fat Joe who said this, yesterday's price is not today's price or something like that. But if I look at that and I think about that, yesterday's way of doing things is not going to be today's way of doing things. And so you have to always remain and be creative and be aware. And so that's one thing that I have to make sure within myself that I focus on, because I'm a type of person I'm a who not how type of person. So I'm not going to be the one who's going to try to figure out NFTs. Now, I'm going to try to understand it, yes. But ultimately, I'm going to end up involving somebody else. But that needs to be their responsibility. But I'm still going to have an overthought or an overview of, okay, this is the shift that's happening. And so being able to pivot and being flexible, is probably one of the best ways. One of the many ways to continue to be a thriving business.
Yep, I fully agree with that, and just being ready for something to
Right.
change,
Right. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
almost anticipating it and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Like, since I studied economics, like, it makes me kind of take a step back and understand. Okay, if something changing over here, that means
Mm-hmm.
it's going to
There's
impact this
something driving that.
whole section on this
Yeah.
side. So,
Yeah.
like you said, it's very critical to stay
Mm-hmm.
alive and thrive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is, man. It is. So man, I'm glad we had this conversation today. I'm super
Me too.
thankful that we were able to connect. Definitely going to connect again live though when I come to Atlanta. I'm sure. Last year I went to Atlanta 3 times in a span of 4 months. Okay.
Wow.
I refuse to move to Atlanta though. I'm not moving. I'm not going to move.
Why is that?
The
DC
traffic
too popping.
is horrible. Number one.
That's true. That's true.
Like, and I can't even talk too much trash because DC traffic is bad too.
I
But
was about to
Atlanta
say,
traffic is different. It's
it
different.
is.
I can't
That's
do it.
true.
I don't have it. Now, what I do intend to do though is to purchase a place down there, maybe a little condo or something, and out, Airbnb it out when I'm not there. And when I come
Right.
down, that way I always have a place to stay because I can't negate the fact that Atlanta is a place for Black entrepreneurship right now.
Agreed.
And I love it. I love what's happening there. I just can't stay there because it's a lot of people, it's a lot of stuff happening, and it's too much.
Nah, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you.
Yeah.
I feel you because I hate the traffic,
I
and the
hate the traffic.
traffic is strictly based
Yeah.
around the 9 to 5 life, which is
Yeah, it is.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it
So
is.
for
That
me, I'll be
hustle and
like, you
bustle.
know what? If it's between the hours of 4 and 6, we doing it. I'm doing it over Zoom. If it's
Right.
between the
Yeah.
hours of 8 and 10, I'm doing it over Zoom.
Yeah.
But we can
Yeah.
meet in person between 11 and 4.
Right. Yeah, like literally at 4:01, I'm telling you, we're not gonna be able to do it.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap for that traffic.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Well, look, I appreciate you, King. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I have your information for your merch and the Duke's Day Media. If anyone is interested in getting their Facebook ads taken care of, just go on ahead and click the link that is down in the description. And go on ahead and have a call with Duke's Day Media. You've heard it here. This gentleman knows exactly what he's doing. He said Facebook ads are easy. Okay. Anybody that sits there and says Facebook ads are easy, I'm going to go ahead and assume, well, not anybody.
Yo, it's a lot simpler than a lot of people make it. But one thing that I always say, if you run into business, it's just as important as learning how to post.
Right. And I know this, Bunduke. Like, I know this. And so this year I'm going to have to, I'm not going to say bite the bullet. I'm going to do it because I know how important it is for my business. I don't have a problem investing into my business and saying, hey, okay, if this is going to cost me $5,000, cool. I just got to find the $5,000. But I know this $5,000 is going to make me 10, 15, 20. Well, I'm not worried about it.
I'm
I
thinking
know
about
that
putting
stuff.
together a challenge. Like, you know how
Man.
people putting these 5-day challenges?
These
I might
5-day
do something
challenges
just to
for
warm people
$297.
up and like let them know. Get them right. Be like, yo, launch your first ad, you know?
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Hey, that's a good idea, though. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, I'll help way more people at once. So
Yeah, you will. You will. And I personally will, I'll sign up for that challenge.
All right,
I would.
That's a bet. That's a
So
bet.
just don't even, you
And
don't
I'm
even got to
looking
worry
forward
about
to our
sending me
jersey
no.
swap.
Listen, I will sign up for the challenge, man. And we definitely have to have a jersey swap for sure. So
let's get it. I'm excited.
I'm excited too, man. I appreciate you, King. I love your story, man. Definitely the epitome of an ugly truth. But just, your tenacity, your survival, man. I'm thankful that you're here, and thriving in the way that you are. Just literally just the way that you are. It's amazing.
Right.
And I appreciate you, King. Thank you for coming on the Ugly Truth Podcast.
Most definitely. Appreciate you having me. Peace.
Absolutely. Peace.